to the Next in Line podcast, where we are helping to prepare you for whatever is next in line. As always, I'm your host, Chance Pitts, and I would like to thank you for tuning in to this episode. Guys, so normally here we would drop a thoughtful Thursday podcast for you. We're going to switch gears just a little bit, and we're going to move to a different segment that we've dropped once before, and that is man to man. So I would like to share this podcast with anybody who is willing to listen, but we're going to specifically target the male audience that we have. That doesn't mean that if you are a female, you cannot listen. There's no password to our clubhouse. We're not going to kick you out of the fort. Just make sure that you don't take offense if this is something that's geared directly towards men. With that said, please make sure you're sharing the podcast with like-minded individuals if you receive some kind of benefit from the show. Also, make sure you're checking us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok for daily content as well. And guys, leave us a rating, a review. Make sure you subscribe to us. Help us grow this movement and get moving in the right direction. Thank you to everybody who has done that. So far, it has been a tremendous help in helping us reach more people. Guys, so with that said, what I want to talk about in this podcast today on this man-to-man episode is that you have to be the protagonist of your own story. And what made me think of this topic is actually I'm watching a show that some of you have probably seen, but if you haven't, it's called Peaky Blinders. It's on Netflix. It's got a fantastic storyline. I've really enjoyed watching the show. I've gotten really invested in it. I've watched a lot of it over vacation time. It takes a lot to get me drug into a show nowadays. I'm usually preoccupied with other things that I have going on. So for this one to draw me in and make me watch I think 4.5 seasons, almost 5 now, very quickly in rapid succession, it's pretty dang good. And now some of that interest of mine could be accredited to the fact that I have an interest in the persona, in the character Tommy Shelby. He's the main character of the show, and he was a war hero that comes back and kind of becomes a gangster and a thug and a mafia boss in a lot of ways over in England. He's got a lot of things going on. He's always the guy that people run to for help. In a lot of ways, I see some qualities of myself in him, and that's probably where some of that interest comes from, is he's always got a plan. He's always got the plan of action ready to go. He's one step ahead of everybody else, if not two. He is the guy that everyone comes to in his family for help, whether they're younger, whether they're older. No matter what the circumstance is, they're coming to him, and he is going out of his way over the top to help. He takes care of his family, he takes care of his business, and he tries to improve his social standing and improve his status all along the way. And I see some similarities between him and myself there. And of course, it gives you a longing as a man to be in a different time, to be in that area where it's just almost lawless. There's so many different things and so many different opportunities, and there's not the rules and the regulations and the standards of society that we have today. And you're able to just dive into whatever you want to get into at whatever point. And there's this level of freedom that comes along with that. And I think a lot of guys get wrapped up into that, which brought me to this topic that I wanted to talk about. And it doesn't matter what show we're talking about. It doesn't matter what kind of story we're talking about. I think every guy kind of falls victim to this situation. We invest ourselves so much into these stories of others. We invest ourselves so much into these fictional and non-fictional characters that exist in these different movies that we forget to exist and be the hero of our own lives. Now, guys, like I said, it doesn't matter if it's Game of Thrones and you're talking about Jon Snow, if it's Black Sails, Sons of Anarchy, if you're looking at William Wallace and Braveheart, or any of these other things, or maybe from the female side of the room, if it's Prince Charming they're looking for, or even, I think it's Christian Grey from 50 Shades of Grey. There's so many different places where we put our energy in, we put our personas at, and we put the expectation around that it really gives us an unfair standard of what we expect to have in our lives and what we expect our lives to be. So it creates a system where we bury ourselves into these things rather than facing the problems that we have on a daily basis. A lot of young guys these days listen to Koe Wetzel songs, or they listen to Parker McCollum or Tyler Childers or Zach Bryan or any of those guys that got that kind of sad outlaw sound to them, that folky soul sound that makes you feel like you're more with nature than you've ever been before. Feel the pain in their voice. You feel the strain with them. And so many guys base their whole life, their whole personality off of these things. And they start smoking cigarettes. They start dressing a certain way. They start talking a certain way. They start drinking real heavy. And men these days just invest themselves into these different ideas and these different ways of thinking and these characters that are most of the time not the real person that you see. We actually see this a lot with social media. We see the highlight reels of everyone else. I know I've talked about this and touched on it before, but social media is just a highlight reel. It's what everyone else wants you to see in their life. It's not these struggles on a daily basis. It's not the downsides of anything. So we get wrapped up in seeing all of these things that we want and all of these things that other people have that we aren't able to achieve. And we drown in those things in a lot of ways, and we overly invest ourselves into trying to give some kind of false sense that we are successful, or we are within those, or we are part of those things. We have become one of those characters in the show. We try to be that so badly, and we try to be that so much that it takes us to a place where we lose sight of what's really important. And, people do this with hobbies too, People get into the cliche of different things that they get invested in. People start riding motorcycles, or they start playing a certain kind of music, or, they get involved with running or working out or fitness, and they become this meathead persona. They start acting a certain kind of way. They start dressing a certain kind of way. They start talking a certain kind of way. And it all starts to snowball, and it takes a role in their life, and it takes control of their life to a point to where we don't actually get things done in the here and now. We don't take control of our situations. In a lot of ways, we have to realize that all of these guys, no matter who you're talking about, no matter who you are putting up on a pedestal, you've got to realize that these guys are just like you and I. And guys, I'm not innocent of this. I do this as well. I just did that with the character from that show, Peaky Blinders. All men deal with these things, and they deal with them in different ways, but it's the very same attitude, it's the same actions, and it's the same detriment on our lives. It doesn't matter who it is. But guys, honestly, think about all of those heroes that you have in your life. Think about all those guys that you think are the epitome of manliness, or the epitome of guys that are winning or getting ahead or are successful. I mean, think about some normal, regular run-of-the-mill folks like all the guys in the Alamo and all that attitude we had, and they had the opportunity to get their metal tested, and they were actually put to the test, and they came through and they stood their ground. Everybody wants that. All men want to have that opportunity, and they want to stand strong and stand tall, and they want to be the answer whenever somebody comes looking for a hero. And even with guys like Dr. Martin Luther King and all these stories of whenever we hear men standing for their values and standing for the things in their lives that they need, these are just guys like you and I. They're guys who evaluated their situations, figured out that they could have more, figured out that they wanted more out of life. Of course, some of their circumstances were a little bit more extreme than that of you and I have on a daily basis right now. But these guys are all men who saw an opportunity for themselves, who saw an opportunity for their communities, for their neighborhoods, for their families, and they decided to do something about it, to help move themselves in a positive direction, to take control of their lives, to stop being afraid of the man, the society, whatever you want to call it, this greater force that seems to be impossible to overcome. And on the other side of that, men these days get so wrapped up in these TV series. They get wrapped up in these movies. You get wrapped up in books and video games and the idea of being something that you can be through this virtual reality world we live in, that we forget to be the own heroes of our story. There are people who depend on us on a daily basis. There's our family. There's our wives. If you're not married, if you don't have kids, then think about the future. Think about yourself. Think about the people that look up to you in life every single day, even your coworkers and the people that you're surrounded by on a daily basis. Think about all of those people who could benefit if you decided to take a stand and be the person that you so badly want to be, but not in a movie, not in a video game, not in your own imagination, but in reality, in your true life. If you could take control and be that hero within your story, you would be able to do so many things and you would achieve so much more out of your life that it is not even funny. You don't even realize what you are truly capable of. And that's what these men were, and that's what men need to be these days. Men need to become strong again. Those men were capable. We need to become capable again. They're intelligent. Think about the young guys, the kids. We would call them kids nowadays, who wrote the Declaration of Independence, who stood up and fought a tyrannical government from overseas. Guys, think about these people that were not so different from you and I. Think about all these people that we try to live vicariously through with all the stories and all the movies and all these different elements of fiction and nonfiction that we put together to give some kind of longing for a better sense of ourselves. And guys, it's okay to envy men like that. It's okay to be envious of the heroes in the story. It's honestly very natural. That's why as kids, whenever we were pretending and playing around, we always wanted to be the cowboys. We wanted to be the cops. We wanted to be the pirates, the superheroes, or whatever other macho man hero we could come up with in life. We wanted to be that because it actually means something. We understand the strength of that. We understand the power behind that. But we get so wrapped up in the fact that we don't have those things in our lives and that it's so much easier to invest our times into something that doesn't truly exist and buy into a world of satisfaction that somebody else is selling us, that we forget to take control of our own lives, guys. And the opportunity is there right in front of you. Think about the things that you want from this life. Do you want to become filthy rich? Do you want to become just successful and create generational wealth for your family? That opportunity is right in front of you. It's never been easier in our society. I am trying to work through this right now. I am trying to figure it out. I am trying to overcome the odds as well right now on that front. I am working every single day to create something for myself that I can be proud of and that is sustainable for my family and all of my future family as well. Guys, if you want a relationship with a significant other that is going to last and going to be like what you see in the movies and romanticized to the high heavens and everything like that, then you need to spend the time working on yourself and investing in yourself and creating an environment that is going to foster a relationship with someone who has the capability of bringing that into your life and helping you create that exact scenario within your life. If you want to be fit, you want to be successful, you want to be somebody that can lift a bunch of heavy weights, if you want to be somebody that can run a lot of long miles, whatever you want to do in the fitness realm, maybe it's neither one of those. Maybe you just want to be able to dunk for once in your life. I don't know, whatever it is. Guys, there's a route to work to achieve those things, but you have to bring yourself back into the realm of reality. You can't just live in the world of what could be and the world of imagination the whole time. It's very important to see these things for yourself in your mind, and that's where some of these things can be very handy because they do give you that image of self-fulfillment. They give you the image of showing you what truly is possible whenever you set your mind to it, but you can't let yourself get lost in the process along the way. You have to engage yourself. You have to invest yourself. You have to work every single day to achieve the things that you want. If you're striving for that promotion, you want to be the guy in the corner office with the paintings on the wall. You want to be the CEO who shows up and has a parking place up front, hops out of his sports car and walks into the office and everyone caters to his every need. Then there's a place for that too. There's a way to achieve that. You don't have to just visualize that in Wolf of Wall Street or whatever movie you see that happening in. You can actually live those things if you put your mind to it. If you take the steps every single day to invest yourself into that process. Guys, it's something that I am working through as well. This is something that I struggle with. Don't take this as me preaching at you or yelling at you from my 26 years of experience. There are things that I am dealing with on each and every one of those fronts I have put out there to y'all today. And I want y'all to know that that's why I'm striving for success. That's why I'm pushing to do the things that I'm doing. I am working on my finances right now. I am working to improve my relationship with my wife every single day. I'm working to push further into my professional career and my development in a professional sense to become the person that I need to be, not only for my career and for my coworkers and for my subordinates at work, but for my family and giving them what I can provide to them through that process. Guys, there's so much more out there in this world, and there's so much more that is within reach. Like we've talked about a few different times, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Guys, work every single day to achieve that goal. Set yourself up for success in any way possible. I'm not saying cheat anybody. I'm not saying change your morals to get there. I'm saying honestly look at yourself in the mirror and make sure that every single day before you go to bed, you can tell yourself with 100% certainty and 100% honesty that you are working to become the best version of yourself that you possibly can. Guys, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Next in Line podcast. As I said, this was a man-to-man episode. I hope y'all guys got something out of it. I know I enjoy recording these podcasts for y'all. If y'all enjoy them as well, make sure you're sharing this show. Make sure you're leaving us a rating and review and subscribing to us on whatever platform. Make sure you check us out on social media. That's at Next in Line Development on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And always be prepared for whatever is next in line.